Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Shravan. We've got Tyrone here with us.
Hey, everyone.
And we have our special guest, our Spider-Man special guest, Kireeti, back.
You can just call me Spider-Man. For this.
Are you Miles or Peter Parker?
Yeah, you just have to call me Spider-Man.
Welcome back.
Thanks. That's kind of extreme. I'm like pretty, I should just preface this by like, I'm coming off like a night shift, so I'm like pretty delirious. I don't know if this podcast can make sense. Hopefully it does.
Never does, so it doesn't matter.
Baseline's already retired.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales, the PS5/PS4 game. We talked about Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man PS4 game, like, when was that? Like 3 years ago now? 2 years ago?
Was it the first podcast I did with you guys?
I think it was. Yeah. 2018.
That's my favorite game. Like
Ever?
Yeah, I think.
Damn, I don't know if I can say what my favorite game is ever, but
It's not the game I played the most because that's bloody Modern Warfare, but it's the game I think it's my favorite single player.
And this is basically a follow-up to that. We'll get into
I haven't played it. Well, I've played a little bit of it, but
I think I would tie Spider-Man PS4 with maybe one of the Assassin's Creeds. It's like the whole concept is pretty similar. It's like a role-play game, free world interaction. It's pretty good fun.
Yeah. All right. I guess me and Tyrone just said he hasn't really played it, and I haven't played it, but I have watched 2 hours and 51 minutes of the gameplay on YouTube. So I know what the game's about pretty much. So
You honestly should have just watched the cutscenes.
I think I played the first half an hour maybe. So like there's 3 hours of it that I haven't played.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have just watched cutscenes. You should have watched the whole bloody gameplay because the guy who recorded his gameplay could have been shit. You could just
I think this was like the cutscenes as well as some of the gameplay because it's pretty much the whole story.
It's all the gameplay. You're watching this guy just do the mission.
I think so.
You just basically watched some guy play the whole game.
So basically the whole gameplay, if you play the whole thing, it's about 3 hours. Is that right?
3 hours, 34 minutes.
Yeah, actually, maybe it is. I think it might be.
Yeah.
If you're very direct with it. So he's clearly like cut out his grinding time.
He's not doing like the
side missions and stuff.
All the holographic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get straight into it. I guess we can talk about, I'll give you a bit of background on the development and we'll get into the story and full spoilers, obviously. So if you haven't played the game and you're interested in, spoilers, then come back and listen to this podcast afterwards. All right. So basically,
if you're interested in spoilers, come back later.
Yes, because
wouldn't they just watch it now? Wouldn't they just listen to it now? Or if they don't want spoilers,
then
if they don't want spoilers,
yeah.
If you don't want spoilers, for some
reason they want my take on the game.
If you want spoilers, then listen. If you don't want spoilers,
then don't listen.
If you want spoilers, listen to this tomorrow
after you play it.
No, if you want, just listen to it tomorrow.
Okay.
If you want spoilers, go to Autobahn and buy one. Thank you.
I didn't realize you had that.
We've got other sound effects as well. There'll be more coming later. Yeah. All right. So it's developed by Insomniac Games. So they did the first one as well. I think we talked about the other games that they've produced, but I think their other big one is Ratchet and Clank. Haven't played it. Have you played it?
Nah.
Yeah.
It seems like it's, I don't know, boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way.
So basically, this game came about obviously because the first one was so successful, and also because Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse happened as well. So Miles Morales became more of a popular character, and Miles already featured in the first game. So they're like, we can do a spin-off game with Miles Morales, and they made it pretty clear when they announced it that it was like a shorter game, like a shorter spin-off game to the first Spider-Man game, and there'll be a proper sequel that comes up, which is like a full-length game.
We thought that this would be a DLC for like a long time as well, right? And then we only realized it actually is a separate game.
Yeah.
But also, Insomniac Games got bought by Sony, didn't they?
Yes.
In between
before
these two games?
2019, they got bought out. Yeah.
And did Spider-Verse come out
2018.
before PS4, the Spider-Man PS4?
I think it was around the same time. It came out towards the end of 2018. And I think the game came out September 2018. So it was,
okay, cool.
similar timing. And they announced that it's going to come out with the PS5. So it was going to be a launch title for PS5 in June 20. And you've got the PS5 version, obviously. And you've got the PS4 version. Okay. So apparently
let's just not talk.
The first person was Kireeti and the second person was me.
Yes.
Because you can't just point to people in podcasts.
just to make it clear.
Oh, shit, I just realized.
Because we're an audio only podcast at the moment. There might be my plans to make a video soon. All right, so PS5 version apparently takes advantage of the console's increased processing power and dedicated ray tracing hardware. So apparently it just runs a lot better. It's basically made for PS5, right?
Yeah. Well, ray tracing is like, I think it's like
Ray tracing's like
it's literally ray tracing.
it's shadows and reflections.
It's trying to imitate real light.
Yeah. So if you walk through like a shop window, then you'll see your reflection in the shop window. But without the ray tracing, then you'll just see a shop window.
That's the dumbest explanation.
That's basically it though. Yeah.
So you don't see reflections, essentially.
And you don't see like sunlight in specific parts and shadows and things like that.
It's also a bit clearer. Like things just seem a bit more crystal clear in ray tracing.
Yeah.
But you can't run. So with this game, I think you have the option of either running high frame rate or fidelity mode, which is ray tracing. So you can choose like high quality or you can choose like quicker.
Unless you have like a super good PC, you can't really run full ray tracing at a high frame rate at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This consoles can't do it yet.
So basically, I think it's what you just mentioned, but it has high dynamic range and an optional performance mode, which allows you to run at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second on PS5. Yeah.
I think the PS5 does go up to 120 frames, but I don't think you can run 4K at 120. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I can't remember. I just chose fidelity mode the whole time. Everything just looked nicer. Yeah. I think most of the game is set during the winter, but there's like specific points where you have like sunrise, sunset, and you really want to be able to see the light's reflection. What did I just say? The light's reflection? Does that make sense?
Life's reflection.
No, everything. You just want to see like proper
the reflection of your life. Does ray tracing give you that as well?
I said light's reflection. I don't know what that means. Jesus.
We can get into like the graphics and all that later. So basically on October 9th, it was ready to be sold. So the technical term is gone gold and they had physical copies available to sell. A little bit about the music. So it was actually the same music composer that did the first one, but this one...
What was that?
Joe Paisano. So he did
Paisano,
yeah.
Does he also own the restaurant chain?
Oh, right. Yeah. Are they still in business?
There's one in Knox, right?
I think so. Yeah.
There used to be one corner of Joel's Road and Ferntree Gully Road. It was actually all right.
All you can eat, wasn't that one? Yeah.
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 It was all right. And
so they're like a Sophia's, that type of restaurant, right?
Sophia's disgusting. Let's not talk about Sophia.
It used to be your favorite place. I only ever went to Sophia's.
It used to be my favorite place when I had a weekly income of $20.
There are two places that I only ever go with you. So one was that, and the other one is dumplings in Carnegie.
100% that is.
Yeah.
But even that, we've been to Sophia's more, and I hate Sophia's.
Yeah. Somehow we always go to Sophia's, and
somehow we always end up.
No one likes Sophia's.
No one likes.
Yeah. But we're always there because it's family fun for everyone.
Oh God,
is that their slogan?
It might be. It should be.
If they're listening, they should change it.
All right. Yeah. Back to the music. So music, I was going to say, it sounds, even though it's the same composer, it definitely sounds very different in this one because it's got more of a hip hop sort of beat to it.
From the half an hour I played, the music was really good.
Yes.
Actually, I played this before Kireeti started it, and the first thing I messaged Kireeti was the music's really good.
The main beat that always hits you when you play, like the underlying groove, is actually the same groove that they've got. It's literally the same beat they've got on Into the Spider-Verse. They've taken that beat.
It definitely reminded me of that. And it's got two original songs, one from Jaden Smith and one from Lecrae.
Did
This is my
Jaden
time.
Smith also make a song for Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did, yes.
Is
Spider-Verse
he trying to
and-
gun for the Miles Morales role?
So he's gotten in with Sony.
Okay.
That's why. So like I'm a bit of a Jaden Smith stan. So on his recent album, he was talking about how he essentially signed a contract for Sony, and I think they're also involved. I don't know if he's actually signed to them. There might be his record label, but
He would be an okay Miles Morales in real life, wouldn't he?
I mean, yeah, he would be a good like Spider-Verse Miles Morales in that he's like a small,
Slim,
thin but
yeah.
muscular.
That's
guy.
how he is in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like Into the Spider-Verse. That's
Well,
what
if you're
he's
going to
like.
have Tom Holland be how he is as the main Spider-Man, you can't really
Well,
have
it'd be
Miles
funny.
Morales as a hedge bloke.
Have the Rock.
Jack.
That'd be so funny.
But they're about the same age, aren't they? Tom Holland and
I don't know how old's Jaden
James
Smith.
is older, surely.
older.
Tom Holland's like 23.
23, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like James Smith is older.
You're the Stan. You should know.
I don't actually know. I don't know how it is. So there's like this really good scene where I'm not sure if you remember, but I think it's pretty much once you finish the first part.
Like the introduction part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
then
jumps
you-
off the building.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the song with Kid Cudi and it's called On My Own with
Yeah.
Kid Cudi and Jaden
good.
Smith, which is actually better than the Jaden Smith original for this.
Where we come from.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I don't really like that song that much, but
Yeah.
I think this song's way better. This song's on his album,
That was
Eris.
that was a good moment when you
Yeah, that's really dope.
He suits up for the first time, isn't it? And then he jumps off the
Yeah. And you
Yep.
finally get like thrust into like free to roam as
Yeah.
Miles Morales. And and the good thing is it doesn't just like start and the song just finish. Like it doesn't cut off. The whole song will play as you just free roam and it'll continue to play out. So you feel pretty epic for like the first 3 minutes as you're going around free roam.
Bit about sales. So basically till date, till the end of 2020, it sold about 4.1 million copies. What was the top selling game of 2020? I just did some research and I just want to see
Modern Warfare, surely.
where this ranked.
top selling game of 2020.
Yeah.
Is it a game that came out in 2020?
I think so.
Well, Modern Warfare came out in 2019. So
Yeah. And if it's like the top selling game or something like the one that makes the most money, it's probably like FIFA or some shit like that or
I'll give you a clue.
GTA 5.
It's-
Yeah.
The publisher was Activision Blizzard.
Oh, okay, that's Modern Warfare.
It's Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Oh, it's a new one. Okay, yeah.
Wow,
I've also
really?
got that one.
that was a high selling.
Yeah, in 2020.
That's like
Second highest was
it looks
Modern
like such
Warfare.
a shit game.
It is a very bad game. Don't buy that game. Actually, it's okay, but
Modern
it's not
Warfare
as good
came
as
out the
Modern
year
Warfare.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Second was Modern Warfare.
that means that Modern Warfare kicked it out of the water because Modern Warfare wasn't released that year. And if they're still making that
In
many
2020,
sales-
yeah.
Yeah. But Modern Warfare was like a bit off topic, but it's a throwback to the old game. So all the fanboys were getting around it. That's why I got the game because I really liked the old games and all my mates got it for the same reason. So yeah, it must have done well.
Side note: Jaden Smith's 22 years old.
Tom Holland's 23.
I think so.
Around there, yeah.
Okay.
So about the same age. But you would expect Miles to be younger if they're going to do it.
He's got to act younger.
Third highest selling game was Animal Crossing, which you
Oh yeah, I got all these games. I got all three of them.
What is Animal Crossing? I keep hearing about this game, but I don't know about it.
It's like
These
a
kids play it, right?
it's like a real time role playing game, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
What do? You cross
Like
the
You
road.
make
with
a
an animal?
village.
You make
make your
farms
village.
and stuff, right?
Yeah,
It's like
you make,
Minecraft. It's like Roblox.
it's like Sims.
Ah, right. Yeah. Gotcha,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, kind of like Sims. Yeah,
Oh dear.
but you go fishing and stuff. I don't know. It's not
Oh,
bad.
thanks, man. It's better than Sims. You can go fishing.
You can't go fishing in Sims.
And okay, just going
Go
through the
fishing
list.
for women. That's what Sims is for, isn't it? Because you hate your actual life.
Do they
You
still
wanna-
make Sims?
Yeah.
Is that
There's a
they
new-
still
I'm
make
pretty sure
it?
there's a new
Yeah.
one.
It's a new one. Yeah,
Yeah.
they make Sims forever.
So it's one of those EA.
People
games
love
that they
Sims.
just-
You know what's crazy is that GTA has just, so this is definitely off topic, but GTA has recently allowed, like, I'm not sure what they call it, but like allow people to just mod it in whatever way they want. And so people have created servers and created mods where they use like the GTA 5 base game as like their world. They create this lobby and there's specific rules and there's crazy shit you can do. And now all these people on social media have like there's like certain servers where like people pretty much live another life on this lobby and they just start doing crazy shit. I've heard about this. I don't want to watch the videos. I'm not really that interested. It's just really funny that these guys are legitimately leading a totally different life. And there's like full on rules. And like this one guy was talking about how he started twerking against this chick and then his girlfriend called him and said, we're breaking up because he like cheated on her. As in he was twerking on this chick in the game.
The girlfriend was in the game as well, or the girlfriend's outside the game?
She joins the game because he's live streaming.
So is his girlfriend in real life, or?
So his girlfriend in real life
wants
to break up with him because he was like twerking with some chick. He doesn't even know if it's a chick. I'm pretty sure it was a guy that was like catfishing him outside like the club in GTA 5. And he was live streaming and then his whole stream was like, oh bro, you can't do that. And then like she found out and I was like, oh my God, it's getting whack these days. So I guess this is how terrible like coronavirus and COVID life is for Americans at the
Quarantine.
moment. Yeah. But they have to live a life on GTA 5.
Live virtual lives, essentially.
That's the future.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a virtual wife soon. She gives me a virtual katnam.
Just the reference there for our listeners.
For absolutely no one.
That's a reference for no one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just going through this. So Animal Crossing was number 3. Madden was number 4. NFL 21. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I think you've played and got. Last of Us Part 2. Ghosts of Tsushima. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's a really old game now.
Ghosts of Tsushima is a really good game. I'd recommend it. It's better than Valhalla. Not as good as this game, though.
Super Mario 3D Stars is number 9. So where this ranks, so this actually ranked below Marvel's Avengers, which is
trash game, apparently.
Apparently not very good at all. So this was number 12.
Like dog shit, yeah.
This was number 12 for 2020.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Marvel's Avengers number 11. But yeah, everything I've heard about Marvel's Avengers is not good. I think
the whole concept's shit. You can't have like all these characters and then not allow them to free roam. I find that stupid. Especially when you have a game like Spider-Man where you can go around. I just like limited levels and like limited movement in like a Marvel Avengers game. I think it's just dumb. You're not utilizing your characters well.
All right, let's get into
the game.
Let's get into the game. So we'll start with the story. So briefly, what is the story in this one?
It's actually pretty good at just continuing on from the last game. So in the last game, I think Peter Parker essentially he's had his little story with all his villains. And then the final scene is him discovering that Miles Morales also has similar powers to him. And so this game just transfers you to, I don't know, maybe just a few weeks or a few months afterwards. I think Miles has been training a bit.
I think it's a few months afterwards and then he's been training with Spider-Man.
Yeah. And so he's like the new protege.
6 months, I think. I think it's,
maybe, I can't remember. Yeah. And it's like wintertime, I think.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's leading up to Christmas. So, it is Christmas. Is it immediately?
It's like close to Christmas.
Yeah.
Well,
like the
Christmas
first
trees
part's
everywhere.
Thanksgiving because he has a dinner with his mate
and his mum.
Yes, you watched this like 20 minutes ago. You should know where it is.
It was about an hour and a half ago.
I don't think it's Thanksgiving. That's a bit of a while away from Christmas.
Yeah,
it's like
true.
a month before, right?
Anyway, it's around Christmas time because they do have the Christmas tree up.
So. Yeah, essentially, look, the game just starts off. This is the non-spoiler version, right? Or is it spoilers?
We can do non-spoilers for now, and then we'll jump into spoilers after.
Look, essentially, the game transfers your consciousness into Miles Morales instead of Peter, and you're essentially just told that Peter has to go and like spend time with Mary Jane. Has to go to Simcaria. Where's he going?
Go to
somewhere in Europe.
What the hell's
they
Simcaria?
go to Europe.
What's Simcaria?
Is that a place?
Is that a place? I don't know if that's a place. I think they just go to Europe, man.
Simcaria. No, it's Simcaria. Is the place that Chick is from in the DLC. What's in Spider-Man DLC? You know, like
Black Cat.
No.
Silver Sable.
Yeah, Silver Sable. Isn't she from
Who's
Simcaria?
also on this?
So Simcaria. Let me see. It's a Marvel. It's a fictional place. So it's
where the Silver Sable's from.
Small Eastern European country within the Balkans. It has been conquered many times over centuries. It has maintained close ties with the nation of Latveria, so Dr. Doom's nation, its capital and large cities. So it's
because I'm pretty sure they introduced that the whole I think there's civil war. There's some unrest going on in Simcaria, and that's where Silver Sable grew up, and that's why it was like introduced. And they're sending like aid over there or something. And I think Mary Jane is going to report about things there. And Peter Parker realizes he's just going to take time off. He's going to help her out with stuff, essentially.
You are correct.
Yeah, so he pisses off to Symkaria and essentially just tells Miles to hold the floor. So the whole game is essentially, which is good. It's Miles by himself. There's no backup of Peter Parker, and you just need to deal with a whole lot of issues that pop up. The main issue you deal with is these eco-terrorists that are against a new company that's come up in Harlem.
Roxxon.
Yeah. That is essentially on the outside, they say they're trying to power Harlem and give Harlem unlimited energy and prevent all the other existing energy problems that are going on, which also which is funny because Texas kind of has a lot of these issues at the moment. Have you heard about Texas at the moment? So Texas,
yes.
It's currently snowing in Texas, way too cold. They've run out of energy. And they
asked for the government for incentives, but they also want to go split off and become an individual nation from America as well.
What?
Did you know this? Yeah.
No, I mean, there's always separatists.
Texas.
Yeah. But it's snowing there.
Yeah.
And
does it usually snow there?
No, so that's the problem. So a lot of people are using the energy grid, right, for heating, and they don't have enough, right? Yeah. So they've started doing sequential blackouts. So people freezing their homes, and people don't have the ability to get water. So there's people on the street melting ice in Texas, of all places, right? One of the richest places you would think in the developed world. There's people going and melting ice for drinkable water.
Yeah.
And also their governor's an asshole, and he's essentially told them the government's not there to protect people.
And I'm guessing they're all in lockdown as well, right? Because of COVID.
Mate, is there even a lockdown in America? I don't think a lockdown is being enforced in Texas.
Well,
Texas is the most Confederate state known to man.
I don't know how many people.
It's only in California.
No, I don't know how many people are following it because one of our uncles lives in Houston, and he was saying, they're in lockdown. But
yeah, right.
I don't know how many people are following it because he was telling me that one of his friends at work, they literally just went to Mexico. They're like, we can't handle this lockdown stuff anymore, so we're just going to go on a holiday to Mexico.
Man, that's what people are doing. So yeah, massive sidetrack there, but essentially, Roxxon is this company that is trying to introduce better energy solution to Harlem. They're claiming that they can essentially lift up Harlem from all the trash facilities it's currently got. And then there is a group called the Underground, right? Yeah, they're called the Underground, and they're essentially, you soon realize they're just trying to sabotage Roxxon, and they have some sort of agenda. And I guess the game allows you to explore why they're doing this certain thing. And at the same time, you start meeting other new players, like Miles Morales meets his Uncle Aaron, who you might recognize the name from Into the Spider-Verse. And there is another, and then Roxxon themselves have a military arm. So there's quite a few villains and quite a few people you need to deal with in the game.
Yeah. Silver Sable.
No.
Is it she in this game?
No, she's not. That's the DLC for the last Spider-Man.
I thought I played it and she was in it.
No. But the people in Roxxon, their military arm is very similar to the Silver Sable military arm in the DLC for the last Spider-Man. That's why it might be a bit confusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm remembering the DLC.
Yeah, you might.
Or I'm remembering something else. Yeah.
So essentially, Underground, this eco-terrorists or whatever they are. And so then they create this kind of war that's going on. So then essentially Harlem gets caught up in all these Roxxon soldiers enforcing their will, and then all these underground terrorists running around, and Miles Morales is trying to keep the peace between these two maniac groups. At the same time, his mum is running for
mayor
or council
or something. Yeah,
it can't be mayor of just Harlem. It's not New York City mayor.
Yeah, it's something
maybe
just
council. Yeah, she's
something
running
just
in
Harlem. Yeah.
And I think one of the good things they've actually done is, so previously I think Spider-Man the whole character of Miles Morales, Into the Spider-Verse, I think what they're trying to do is trying to get the black community and the Latino and Hispanic community to kind of relate to this character and trying to get them involved in this Marvel universe, right? So they what was cool in Into the Spider-Verse was that you had black culture, but you also had this kid who was also just spitting out Spanish when he was talking to his mum. So it was a good combination of cultures, identity, and things like that. And this game tends to, in order to, I guess, get the same appeal, it talks about the community of Harlem and how because Harlem has always had like a mixed reputation. There's always been a bit of crime, being a poorer neighborhood, had not as good schooling, some like homelessness there, right? So this game focuses around that community, and essentially Miles is like trying to protect Harlem. That's his thing, which is actually a bit different because Into the Spider-Verse is about him being in Brooklyn. So I think they chose Harlem on purpose. They made him move.
Well, in this, I think they made him move because he was in Brooklyn before.
Yeah, exactly.
Moved,
so after his father passes away, he moves to
Harlem.
Harlem. That's the theme of it. I think most of the stuff you do, I mean, you go all around New York, but a lot of the artwork you see is very inspired by street art, graffiti-esque sort of stuff. The whole storyline surrounds Harlem, but you go around New York City, so you have a bit more exploring. I can go into the storyline. I don't think it's really necessary, to be honest, to go really into the storyline to explain it. But we can later on.
Yeah, we can do later in spoilers. Yeah. So overall, the story, I guess it's a simpler. There's not as many villains and stuff in this one, so it's a bit of a simpler story.
Yeah, and also it's very character based about Miles rather than it being like Spider-Man, all these villains.
And I guess it's about him because Spider-Man was always associated with Peter Parker, and it's about him trying to move out of that shadow as well. Yeah,
he's trying to become his own. He also discovers new powers throughout the game. He's also trying to connect with like old friends. There's like quite a few cutscenes that are like very like personal, sort of emotional. They're trying to appeal to his emotion. They have like flashbacks and stuff. I got a bit bored of those after a while. I was like, whatever, but it does add to the game.
I guess graphics-wise, how does it compare to... So I remember when we talked about Spider-Man PS4, both of you said that the graphics were... I mean, they were serviceable, but they weren't like amazing or anything.
Yeah, that's right. It's definitely better. It's not like such a ridiculous hike that you'll be like, oh my God, this is like a crazy improvement. But also it hasn't been that long since between the two games, so I wouldn't have expected.
A couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, but the graphics are better. New York is bigger, more realistic, and even when you're on top of buildings and you look out to Brooklyn or you look out to New Jersey, they don't. So in the previous game, they just look like flat cardboard pieces of paper. It looks stupid, right? But in this game, there's legitimate buildings on that side, so the world just seems far more realistic, which is quite good. Obviously, with the ray tracing and frame rate and stuff, that always helps with action scenes and with clarity of the buildings and your landscapes and stuff. I still feel like the facial animation could have just still been a little bit better. I don't know.
Sometimes they seem a bit like just emotionless. Like the scene is emotional, but their faces aren't very emotional.
I wish they could use whatever technology they were using to like create Thanos' face, like heavily. What do they call it? It's CGI, motion capture.
Yeah.
They do use motion capture for this.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good.
It's
I feel like the dots.
It's harder when you're rendering the whole thing. I think when you have a real thing around the person and then you're rendering just their face, I think that's easier.
Yeah. Maybe they should have just casted someone, used their face, and therefore rendered around that person's face.
I think that's what they do.
What? They did that to create Thanos, right? They used...
Yeah, I think that's what they do for this game as well.
Really?
I think so.
Well, that's fucking shit. I feel like, when they use motion capture dots and they put it on the face, so then every time you move a muscle, it can capture it.
I'm pretty sure that's what they do for this game.
I feel like the dots were far too spread out. They didn't capture all the muscles.
They didn't have enough dots.
Exactly. I don't think that, and also I don't feel like they put as much money. There's clearly not, the budget is not the same as like an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
But it feels weird because in this day and age, you sometimes, because I've also played Assassin's Creed Valhalla at the same time. There are definitely scenes in Valhalla where I feel like they're doing more justice to the character's face and the character's facial expressions. But also Valhalla kind of fails in that regard as well. So at certain points. So I don't know. I'm not going to judge it too harshly, but it could be better. Definitely.
Don't really have much else to say. I guess we can talk about gameplay. So gameplay would be similar to, I guess that would be the PS5 enhancements, right, to the gameplay?
Yeah, 100%. So I think...
I don't think there's a whole lot of enhancements controller-wise, is there? You said there wasn't when you told me.
It's not like a crazy jump with with the controller. The controller is like just so much better though. So just like little things you notice. So when in the main menu, first of all, let me talk about next gen is ridiculous. The loading times on next gen are totally fucked. So I saw this comparison where even if you like play the previous Spider-Man on PS4, every time you do a mission, the game has to set to this other screen. You wait like 20 seconds and then you're in the mission. Okay. These are even like if you're trying to go into like a little enemy base, beat out some bad guys and get out. In this game, there is no division between the world that you explore and going into the mission. So there's an animation just showing you Miles Morales like slipping through a hole in the roof and then he's suddenly in like the base. No loading time, which is amazing, which means that like that base game is just so much larger. There's so many things kind of running at the same time. The CPU or GPU, whatever you call it, is much better on the PS5. The other thing is that when you start up the game, it's instant. You start up the game and the menu just pops up straight away. And while you're in the menu, your controller, it feels, because the menu just shows Miles Morales just waiting on the subway. And your controller feels like it's going over railway tracks, so you can feel that vibration. And even when you're slinging past or you're flying past like a railway station, you can feel the vibrations of a train going past, which is pretty awesome. I just think they haven't maximized the controller yet because they haven't made a game that is purely for next gen yet. I think they're still
other than that PS5 exclusive game.
Oh yeah, what's it called?
What's that game called?
Astro. It's like Astro's Playroom or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's actually if anyone has next gen or PS5 out there, I'd recommend playing that game.
Isn't it like specifically made to just use everything in the controller?
Yeah,
maximize the use out of the controller.
So it's really cool. So they show you how this the haptics work in the controller in Astro's Playroom. Astro's Playroom, I think that's what it's called. You're like shaking this controller. They show you on the screen like they're adding dice into your controller, right? And they close it. And then you start shaking your controller around and it literally mimics like there's stones in your controller. It feels like you've got something in your controller and like when you move it to the side, you feel like you're throwing it out, and which is crazy. That's like to have like that tangible response in your controller is nuts. So the potential for the controller is unbelievable. And you notice a bit of that in Spider-Man. Spider-Man's better for that because AC Valhalla, Assassin's Creed, just does not really introduce that aspect at all. They don't really take advantage of the next-gen controller. Those little things really help when you're doing certain things, like when there's certain scenes where you need to web up an enemy and it's getting harder. Every time you pull the trigger, you get more resistance, which is just a slight thing that kind of adds to the experience. Also, have they really changed much when it just comes to basic controls? Not really. The basics are fine. Obviously, Miles Morales has 2 powers now. So Miles Morales can become invisible and he's got
camouflage. Yeah.
It's got a venom punch.
Yeah, which I think I agree with other people who also think that's a stupid name. If you have a Spider-Man game, don't call anything Venom unless it's actually Venom. You know what I mean? Or else it's just going to get bloody confusing. But yeah, he can conduct electricity and manipulate electricity. So I think one good thing is that because this guy has new powers, he can go invisible and he can use electricity, he's more powerful in the moves he does, and therefore they don't give you as much gadgets and they don't give you as much extra things to use to your advantage. Whereas in the original Spider-Man PS4 game, because Spider-Man just has his normal powers, they allow you to use different types of drones and like little gadgets that you can power up. In this, there's not as many of those. The suits are pretty good in this game. I found like in Spider-Man PS4, the suits were fucking retarded. They were like so extreme. There was like this one. Do you remember that Ghost Rider outfit?
Yeah.
That's so fucking extreme. I don't understand. it. Someone must have been dropping some acid when they.
I think they just they're like, they just went all out for those. Go for it. Yeah. There's got a lot of fun ones in there. There's got one where he's wearing nothing but his underwear.
Yes, I thought that would be a Miles Morales thing as well, but apparently not. Because I've like completed this game to 100%, and I was like thinking maybe there's something there, but you don't get anything.
Did you get the remastered version of the original as well?
I did, but I haven't played it yet. It's on my PS5, but I haven't played it. So they've changed his face.
I think that comes free with Miles Morales.
I think if you get the ultimate version.
Ultimate version.
So that's what I got. Yep. Gameplay wise, no, look, it's very similar. You're not going to find that much of a difference between the old Spider-Man and this game. I would treat this game as like a really cool DLC. to play. I wouldn't necessarily expect a totally new game, but it is very fun. It's the added experience is that it's like one of the first games you're playing on this new console, so it definitely makes it more fun as well. The music's cool, the vibe of the whole game's awesome as well, and it's a new character that you get to play with. So I think that's why it's quite exciting.
I think it's still priced at a full price game though. I think it's still like
Really?
$80
Still?
or something. Yeah.
Damn, okay. Why is that?
People did buy PS5s. Well, people didn't get PS5s yet, so
Yeah, true.
I assume once they buy it, then they'll...
Drop the price.
They're happy to fork it out.
I've got a bit of like spoiler stuff, but I guess is there anything else you want to mention non-spoilers before we jump into spoilers?
There's this ridiculous suit in this game where you do this really dumb mission as Miles Morales. You save. There's like some dude in Harlem who I think he's got like a little deli, and he calls up Miles Morales. So it's quite interesting. The way you communicate with the public is through an app now, and this, it's pretty awesome in that sense because they're up to date with what's happening in the real world. So there's an app in which you can communicate with Miles Morales if you need help. So this guy calls Miles up saying, "You can hang out with my cat, who's also called Spider-Man." And so for some reason, Miles decides this guy is perfectly sane and he's going to go talk to this guy. And then, he actually loses his cat. He's like, "Hey man, you got to find Spider-Man." And then you go and find the cat. It's been taken over by like this one, like some big henchman just takes his cat. Don't know why. And so you beat him up, take the cat back. And then he's like, "Oh, come hang out with Spider-Man whenever you want." So then when you come back and hang out with Spider-Man, you get this new suit and you're just wearing a backpack. And there's this cat dressed as Spider-Man in the back who attacks enemies. It's like one of the finishing moves is a cat just slapping the enemy. And so it becomes it's like funny and it's so dumb that it starts to become your favorite suit. And so that's all you do. The other two, there's two other suits that are really good. One is pretty much a remake of it's like the classic Miles Morales black suit. Then there's a remake of this Into the Spider-Verse suit. And then there's like the actual comic version of Into the Spider-Verse suit, if I'm remembering this right. Or maybe they're both the same. But you can essentially get the Into the Spider-Verse suit, which makes him look exactly like the Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales, like this real thin, athletic kid. And then you can add this effect that allows the whole world to look like the animation in Into the Spider-Verse. So like a bit jittery and stuff like that.
And you can do the moves, right? How you jump off the building and then
that's another good thing. That's also really hard to discover. So there's ways of doing various tricks. Actually, this is something I do need to talk about. So there's this subtlety in this game where as you're starting the game, you start realizing that every time you swing from building to building, Miles kind of falters and like kind of acts like he's just still trying to get his balance and stuff, which is very much what Miles Morales does in Into the Spider-Verse. And then when you're trying to like jump off or do like perch takedowns or you're trying to jump off buildings, there's ways of dropping that mimic everything in Into the Spider-Verse. So there's one way of dropping. There's like a button combination where you do like the classic, that scene where the What's Up Danger scene where he's just like kind of backwards and just falling from the sky, right? You can do that in this game. There's like other ones where as you're doing that, you can just like read a book. Like you just bring out a book. It's just like little quirky
bring
things
out
like
your
that.
phone and stuff.
Yeah. There's all these like ridiculous things that you can do, but they're all like references to Into the Spider-Verse or just trying to be a bit fun for whoever's playing the game. So I can't think of anything else.
All right.
I also have only slept 4 hours.
All right, we'll jump into spoilers then. So spoilers wise, I guess in the story, there's a couple of twists, I guess, in the story. So one of them being his friend is working in the underground, right?
Yeah, so essentially what happens is it's a bit weird how his friends introduce. So it seems like essentially Miles Morales has moved from Brooklyn. So he's kind of left. He hasn't caught up with some childhood friends of his as well because he's moved, right? There's one person who used to be his best friend. I forgot what her name is. Finn.
Yeah.
Which also, Finn's a weird name. Finn.
No, I think it's Phin. This version is Phin.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's even worse. What does that stand for? Phineas?
So in the original comics, the Tinkerer, who's actually a male, is Phineas.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Like Phineas and Ferb. I love that show.
So he catches up with Finn, starts realizing that like starts asking about her brother, who they were also like quite tight with, and then starts realizing there's some family or some trauma that's gone on because she doesn't want to talk about it. And he's trying to reconnect with his friend. Then essentially, while he's trying to save the Roxxon people from this terrorist attack from the underground, realizes that his best friend Finn, who he's trying to like catch up with and reconnect with, is actually the leader of the underground like terrorist network. Okay, which freaks him out. And then he starts doing some research about what's going on. And initially he thinks that Finn's brother, who he used to know, would be like the main villain. But then it turns out it's actually Finn. And then he finds out that the reason why she's probably doing all of this is because her brother was essentially murdered by the CEO of Roxxon. So like that guy is clearly evil as fuck. And I think anyone who's exposed to like the core which Roxxon uses to generate its energy, they get sick. And there's like there's terrible side effects of that. And Roxxon is just trying to cover that up. So that's like the fight. That's the reason as to why Finn wants to fight against Roxxon, trying to get revenge essentially.
And Finn is the comic character Tinkerer in this.
Yeah, so the Tinkerer is like the leader of the underground people. At the same time, Roxxon, because when all this happens, then Roxxon uses all these attacks against them as a premise or as a reason as to bring in their own militarized force. And so it's kind of like this Silver Sable thing that happened in the DLC with PS4. It's like that, but it's not the same thing. Where Norman Oswald like hires like these private militia to just protect the city, and then they kind of lose control and everyone starts turning on each other. That's pretty much what happens. But yeah, look, Miles Morales is not a complex story. So like in Spider-Man PS4, there's all these things to explain. Look, this is all that happens in Miles Morales is you're just trying to you're trying to prevent Roxxon and the Underground from like destroying each other, but definitely mainly focus on preventing the Underground from like doing these mass terrorist attacks. And the fact is like Finn is definitely, it's a bit weird because the Tinkerer or Finn is totally happy with the collateral damage as long as she gets rid of Roxxon.
Yeah.
Which honestly, that doesn't really make sense, right? If your brother died due to exposure to like this nuclear core or whatever the hell Roxxon is doing, your brother was collateral for Roxxon. For you to then say normal innocent people are now going to be my collateral, that doesn't make any sense. Like either she's just lost it or they should have written this a bit better. The other cool thing is you meet Aaron, who's your Uncle Aaron.
The Prowler.
Yeah, and he's the Prowler in this. Is he always supposed to be the Prowler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've already introduced his character in the MCU, technically. He's Donald Glover. Yeah.
Okay.
In Homecoming.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, look, that's you discover him, you do some missions with him, you start realizing that he's also, it's the same sort of vibes as Into the Spider-Verse, where it turns out Uncle Aaron has always been kind of in with various bad people in New York. Like I think they suggest that he used to have relationships with or used to work for what's his guy's name? Fisk?
Kingpin.
Yeah, Kingpin. And now he's just like working for Roxxon. He's been hired by Roxxon. So there's that little level of complexity as well. And towards the end, you have to fight him because he's working on like Roxxon's side. So then Miles Morales has to fight his uncle, and he, has that whole conversation about how he should have been there or whatever it was. And then Uncle Aaron has to redeem himself. So I think he tries to go through his own little journey and figure out his own life. So, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward story.
I think I've played more of this game than I thought I did.
Yeah, you've met Uncle Aaron and stuff.
Yeah, I've done all that. Yeah, maybe I have played more than I thought I did.
Maybe you're like close to the end.
Yeah.
It's not that long, so you probably are very close.
Yeah. I've had all those twists happen already. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty close to end game then. The suit that Uncle Aaron gives you, I think once you do all his missions, is pretty dope. It's like this Prowler / Spider-Man suit. That's pretty sick. The one thing that is missing from this game is that suits don't have their own like special ability. So in PS4, you could press, when you like gained enough momentum or whatever, you could press both joysticks and you could do like this crazy finishing move and destroy everyone around you. You can't do that in this game, but I feel like that would be so much fun in this game. I don't know. I can't really, the story is very straightforward. Doesn't really need that much explaining.
And I guess at the end, there are some casualties, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So the very end, what happens is...
Someone dies, right?
Look, you destroy Roxxon. the Tinkerer essentially wants to convert the Roxxon like energy source into like a bomb, and then apparently for some reason doesn't realize that this bomb is gonna like fucking wipe out New York City and not just take out the Roxxon building. And so definitely going to take out Harlem, and that's what, you know, this guy's trying to protect Harlem. So he goes, so Miles Morales can absorb energy, right? And that's like one way that he deactivates a lot of these terrorist plots is he absorbs energies from like the bomb that they're trying to set off or whatever it is. So he tries to absorb all this energy from like this essentially nuclear bomb that's going to go off. He absorbs it, but then he has so much energy he can't contain it. Needs to somehow let it out. And so that's when like Finn comes to the realization that she needs to like save him. And because the Tinkerer can fly, she just puts on her suit, lifts up Miles Morales and allows him to like release the energy as a bomb into like the atmosphere above Harlem to protect its citizens. And there's like, then he falls back to the ground, but survives. So he's okay, gets found by, actually, it's like one of those Spider-Man scenes again where I think it's in Spider-Man 2 or like after he does like that whole train scene, he gets like carried with his mask off and everyone's like, put the mask back on. Is that Spider-Man 2?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of those where his mask is off for the last scene and like everyone's like, dude, put your mask back on. Like the whole community getting around him and stuff.
And he has a friend in this as well, right? Like he's...
he has a man in a guy in a chair.
Wait, what?
He has a guy in a chair? Or the Asian guy?
Danky.
Danky, yeah.
Is it Ganky?
Ganky. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Danky with dank memes. Yeah, Ganky, which is a fucking weird name. Right? Is that like is that an Asian name?
I don't know. Is he like Korean or something? I don't know.
Ganky. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, so his mate's always helping him out with that shit. Also, I think he kind of has the hint to like a love interest of like this girl that's deaf. I don't know if he's trying to like hit on her or what's going on. But
does he meet her like once or twice, right?
He meets her right at the start and then he meets her throughout continuously.
Okay.
And like saves her once and she's at the end and sees him. But yeah, the Tinkerer is like, there's always this mystery as to did Finn actually die from the explosion? Did she sacrifice herself or did she just piss off and isn't like she's just hiding? So they might bring her back. Who knows? They probably will, I reckon.
In the next one.
Yeah, just as like maybe someone who's like redeemed themselves and wants to just help out Spider-Man. Who knows? Yeah.
And there's a post-credit scene, right?
Is there? I can't remember it.
So apparently there's a post-credit scene where you see, is it Harry? Like, what happens at the end of the last one?
Yeah, you see Harry in the tube.
In the tube.
chamber thing, right? Yeah. And
what happens in this? Is it Harry again?
I don't know, man. I haven't finished the game.
so it's Harry.
again.
So it's Harry again, but you see it from like his perspective, like he's in the chamber, and then you see Norman, and he's talking to another scientist, but I think he calls him, is it Kirk? What's Lizard's name? Kirk something. Kirk Connors?
What's who?
Lizard.
Liz Allen.
Lizard.
Oh, Lizard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kirk Connors.
Yeah. So he's speaking to Kirk Connors, who's trying to do something.
And do they bring up Venom?
I think you see a bit of like black stuff around him, but they don't bring it up.
So clearly they're teasing that the next game, you know what? It'd be really cool if the next game was you can keep switching between Peter Parker and Miles Morales.
Yeah. And then Venom is the main villain, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Or there'll be.
Or Green Goblin.
Or Green Goblin. Yeah.
I feel like Harry's got to be Green Goblin. He can, unless they allow Venom to take him over. I don't know what this cuts. I can't remember.
Has Harry ever? I don't think Harry's ever been Venom.
He's been Hobgoblin.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever been.
Is that what he's called in Spider-Man 3?
Yeah. Well, they never say it specifically, but that's.
No, so they haven't actually had Green Goblin yet, right? In these games, so
no, they haven't. No.
So it makes sense for Green Goblin, who's his arch enemy.
Yeah,
it's true. It'll be interesting. I feel like you need to give Peter Parker. I reckon you need to give Peter Parker like some extra shit in order to make him a comparable character to Miles Morales. Now that Miles has invisibility and electricity, you have to make Peter Parker Spider-Man maybe just like more powerful. Maybe it has like better KO attacks or like better finishing moves or something in order to make them comparable. Because like clearly, it's just a total advantage to Miles Morales at the moment.
Because they're probably equal strength, right? And then Miles just has this other stuff as well.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a bit hard to say. They probably are equal strength. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, Peter's meant to be... Well, he's meant to have the mental edge, I guess. He's like more experienced and he knows what he's doing. So I think that's his edge.
Yeah, exactly. That's very hard to translate into a game. Unless like they do like these visualizations of being able to see what to do or tactics or something. Honestly, looking forward to the next game. It'll be good fun. This is definitely a good game to play. I think when did the PS4 actually come out? October? It was October, wasn't it?
5.
Yeah, PS5.
Yeah.
Like when did it get delivered?
I think it was October.
End of October?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I was doing my exams and it bloody arrived. It freaking arrived like 3 days before my exams. I was like, oh my God, this is not ideal. So I just like set it up but didn't play any games on it. Yeah, so it must have been end of October, start of November. So, but we were already unlocking down by then.
Yeah, I think we came out of... When did we come out of
November 15th?
August?
No, it was
No,
later.
dumbass.
It was way later. It was at least
August, what the
October.
fuck,
September?
man?
Because it was.
No,
I think it was.
after this. Like we're talking about like we came out of lockdown like
Thought it
as
was
I finished
before.
exams.
Oh, really? Okay.
November, man.
I think it was.
Right.
Yeah,
Don't
late.
you remember how shit last year was?
Just a blur.
So we started lockdown in July, and it was meant to finish in August, and then it got extended for another 3 weeks or something, and then it got extended again. So I think it ended up finishing in October.
It got extended, then it got hyper extended. Like
Yeah.
they made it like stage 5 or stage
Yeah.
6 or whatever the hell they wanted to do. Yeah.
So I think it was like, yeah, it was either October, November when we finally came out.
I'm pretty sure I remember I went out and got absolutely slizzard one night after my exams. And that was the first time you could go out in like since forever. And that was like start of November, which means that must be when we unlocked down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I do remember now because, it was just before cricket season was meant to start. Yeah.
So ideally,
So it's like November.
The reason
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to this is because ideally the PS5 would have come to us in like September when we were like mid lockdown, had nothing to do, and I would have been totally happy to just
came
smash
later.
out games.
Yeah.
But this is definitely nice. I guess
Would you recommend it at full price though, since it is a shorter game?
yeah,
Okay.
it's still a full game. It doesn't feel like a DLC. It's not like the storyline might seem like a DLC because it's just very much linked to the other game, but it's definitely its own game.
in terms of
I think it's definitely worth the
yeah.
money. I think it's actually a better game, despite being a little bit, or not a little bit shorter, but way shorter than Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It is such a better game. Valhalla is actually kind of a crap.
I've got some extra Easter eggs and stuff. So you know that there's a level with mannequins, if you remember, and they like move.
Yes.
Yes. So apparently that's a reference to a Doctor Who episode where they have some mannequins
I
that
think
are.
I've seen this. Did you get this off video?
I watch a lot of videos this morning, so it's off a video.
Yeah, I think I watched a video where they were trying to go through all the
Yeah.
Easter eggs.
There is Stan Lee homage as well. I think there's a statue or something of Stan Lee, because Stan Lee was in the first one as a restaurant owner.
Damn, I can't remember where's this statue?
Let me see if I've got the location. I don't think I have the location. It's somewhere in.
They've got the Sanctum, the New York Sanctum in this game,
Oh yeah.
which they didn't have in PS4.
No, it was in that one as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe it was just shit. Like it was just a shit looking building.
Oh, so the statue is just right next to the diner that Peter and Mary Jane used to go to in the first one.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And there's 2 references to Chadwick Boseman, actually. So there's one, 42nd Street is renamed Boseman Way.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Because he was in a movie called 42 or something, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, the baseball one.
The baseball one, yeah. And then at the end of the game, there's also a message for Chadwick Boseman, in the loving memory of the noble king Chadwick Boseman, Wakanda forever. So,
Damn.
because I think this came out just after he
Passed
passed.
away.
Yeah. And there's some deep Easter eggs. Like, people have obviously like searched around. You might have seen this in the video, but basically in the apartment that he lives in, if you like zoom into the apartment numbers, like where people, like the names of the people in each apartment building, apartment in the building, there's one is Waldo. So Waldo is our Wally. Like, where's Wally?
Where's Waldo?
Yeah. And there's another one with Andy and Buzz.
Oh, okay.
And there's another one with Fred and Jason, and it's got like blood soaked on it. So and the apartment number is F13. It's the Friday the 13th.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
So,
This
and
game
I think,
creator's just having a ball, just making these random things.
and you were mentioning that you couldn't find the Chrysler building, right? It's because it's not in the game.
No, they got rid of it, huh?
It's not in the game because
Did you get the rights to it?
yeah, so they got the building itself got new owners, and they denied Insomniac's request to include the building in the game.
Yeah.
Because I think it was in the first game though.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I mean, even the One World Tower is not. It's not the One World Tower because they didn't get rights to that. So that's why that World Trade Center just looks totally different in the last game and this game. One World has like this peak at the top, but in this game there's just like this flat. It's like got a flat.
Anything else? I've
Can't
got
think of
nothing
much
else.
else, to be honest.
I guess sequels wise, we've said it's probably going to be Peter Parker Miles combination sort of situation happening. So
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. I don't think they've announced anything in terms of release dates for that, so it might be 2 or 3 years away at least.
Yeah, hopefully they fully utilize the
PS5.
next generation console.
Yeah. I guess that's Miles Morales PS5. Did you have any issues with PS4 version of this game? Because obviously it sounds like you've actually played most of it.
Oh, not most of it. I only played. I actually don't know how much I played, but no, it runs smooth.
Sounds
it
like
runs
you played
fine.
like 80%.
Yeah, it runs fine.
Okay, yeah. I've heard people saying that. Or maybe you have to play the PS5 version to see how deficient the PS4 version is.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's all we have to say. So if people want to get in touch with us and tell us about their experiences with Spider-Man Miles Morales, how do they go about it?
Cognitive recalibration at .com.au.
He started again, boys.
What else have you got? That's what you should.
So it's cognitive recalibration podcast at gmail.com and all platforms, cognitive recalibration.
Yeah. So if you want to support the podcast, please give us a positive review on Spotify or iTunes because that makes us more discoverable on search engines. On top of that, I'll leave an Amazon affiliate link down in the description so you can purchase Miles Morales if you decide to do that. And also, if you want to support the podcast further, you can give us a one-off donation via Buy Me a Coffee, which I'll also leave a link to in the description. All right. That's all.
Awesome.
Next week, after this episode, it will be the finale for WandaVision. So this episode's coming out next Monday.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And then the week after will be WandaVision. So stay tuned for our full spoiler review of that.
Nice.
Apart from that, there's not much to say.
We're out. End it. Finish.
So thanks everyone for listening. Hope you're staying safe, and we'll see you next time.
See you in the next one.
Rumba.
Bye.
Woo!